Right, hello and welcome back to the channel. We've got a rather poorly Rotel Rvc 230 on the bench today. You can see it's quite worn, got the volume label missing there off the dial, and upon turning it on we've got a few issues. Now we are receiving, but we've got, as you can see, there's no meter light, so that's one thing that needs doing. We've got an intermittent problem with the digits there on the channel switch. That's something else we need to look at. Although we haven't got any missing digits, but we've got intermittent ones there, and then we've also got no transmit at all. So I'm putting the radio into transmit. We get the transmit light coming on, but it's not going. I just put the switch over. It's not going into transmit, so I'm getting nothing on the meter at all. So there's obviously a problem there. And it could be TX, it could be the VCO, I'm not sure. So I thought I wasn't going to do a video on this one. I was just going to clean it up, tune it up and put it straight onto eBay, but I'm going to do a video because it might be interesting, and because normally these are good radios, there's not normally an issue. So let's take the lid off on top and bottom and see what's on the inside. The back of the PCB is looking okay. It's a little bit tiny little bit dirty, but it's okay. Now the one place where you can often get problems with the digits on the channel selection switch is where it attaches here to the board. So I will actually look at all of these, and we'll go around and just make sure we haven't got any broken tracks or dry joints around there. But we'll have a look at the other side now. Doesn't look too bad in here. There is a slightly blackening around the channel selector switch contacts here again. So we'll get some isopropyl alcohol on those, clean them up, and then go through all of the connections with the soldering iron. But yeah, that's looking pretty tidy. So let's look at why we're not getting any transmit. Let's just see if we're getting any transmit at all, in case we're getting a very low signal, and we'll use the Randy for that, of course. Using the Randy, we are getting an audio signal there, and we're getting, obviously you can see an RF signal on the screen. 1, 2. Okay, not very good, but we're getting it. So let's start first off before we do anything. So we're getting transmit, so we know the audio is going to be getting receive. Let's see if we can sort the first problem out, which will be the channel selector. Okay, that's a bit better. I'll just reflow those with the soldering iron though, and we'll get those sorted. Okay, so if we've done the solder connections on both sides, and let's see if we can get a little bit of switch cleaner in the switch, and then hopefully that'll cure that channel missing digit problem. It seems to have sorted that out now. We've got no flickering digits on any of those. They're all, I think it does feel like it's kind of had a lot of use, this switch, but we've got no problem with any of the digits now. We're all good to go. Right, we've got the proper manual for the 240, so we'll start off and check that the VCO is aligned correctly first. Alright, we set the radio to channel 40 on receive. The test point is down there where I've broken away the wax, so I don't think this has been tested before. That's the top of resistor R4. So we pop our tester in there, and we're looking for 4 volts on receive. We've got 4.2, and on transmit 3.9. so that doesn't need any adjustment. If you do need to adjust it using that inductor on receive and that one for transmit, CT1, I think it is behind there, CT1 for transmit. So that doesn't need any adjustment. We'll just drop it down to channel 1 and just check the voltages that we're getting there. So channel 1, 2.3, and on transmit 2.2. So that does not need any adjustment. So it is going into transmit, so that isn't a VCO problem, but we've just got no power. Testing 1, 2, 1, 2. Yep, so it's working. We're getting transmit power, and yeah, that's more than a few milliwatts to do that. So yeah, there's we should trace the RF and see where we're losing it. I'm going to jump right ahead and assume that our main driver has gone there, but I'm just going to do a very quick test and desolder the 3 legs and get it on the transistor tester first. It's the quickest way of doing it. So that's looking okay. We've got our probes connected directly there. You just desolder, connect your probes up, and that's testing good. So our transistor is good. So let's test the pre-driver. I don't know what other people call those. I call it the pre-driver. There we go. This one is located there on the flip side now. It's just easier to desolder this one. So I've marked the front of it with a pen so I know which way it comes out, and then we'll desolder it and drop it into the tester. Yeah, and that one's testing good as well. So mystery deepens. Where's our RF going? We might have to break out the RF meter now. Always worth checking when you take out a component that it is the correct component. We've identified that as Q5 from the schematic diagram, and that is indeed a 2SC1846. You can see it stamped there on the transistor, but it's always worth checking that, and it's always worth checking it's been put in the right way round as well. And on the board here you can see that there's an emitter, letter E, sorry, there you can see, and then it's marked up on the tester. We highlighted on the tester which pin was the emitter, so we should be in the correct position when we put it back in. Right, we've got the radio in transmit. You can probably hear it behind, and we're getting nothing. We're getting a little bit of drive on the input of that one, and then we're getting nothing on the main transistor there. Absolutely no drive at all, but we are getting it there, which I think is the collector. I have to double check that. That's the base, that's the emitter. So this transistor here isn't driving for some reason. We are getting a signal into it though. Now I'd have to check on another radio to see if that is the right level. But what I'm going to do first, before I do anything, is I'm just going to try adjusting the trimmers anyway. We are starting to get a little bit of power now, so let me go through these first 3 cans, and we may well have a dry joint somewhere, but yes, we seem to be getting a bit more power now. I think I'm going to get the thermal camera out. If you've already seen my NI440DX video, because I was getting some power then and then it dropped off, so I'm wondering if something's getting warm. Yeah, I think I found the culprit. The normal high-low switch here. Let's pop it. It needed a clean, I think. Yeah, there we go. And that's how power come back. So I'm going to run some. I normally do that first. Schoolboy error. I'm going to run some switch cleaner through both of these. Blast them with some compressed air, then give them a little bit of switch cleaner, and then there we go. So it was that. It was the high-low power switch. Just needed a clean. There we go. So we got 3 watts there. So let's now we've got the radio sort of functioning, I think we'll take some figures down, write some figures down so we can see how we improve things. So let's get those figures down for transmit, power, receive, frequency and deviation, and then we'll see how we've improved this set at the end of that. And this set will be going on eBay once I finish with it, so if any of you are interested in a well used but obviously properly serviced and tuned up RVC 230, it will be on there. Got another good one on receive. It's doing 0.35 microvolts for 12 decibel synad. So another really good one on receive. Not surprised really. I'm not even adjusted it yet. So let's look at deviation. 1, 2. Goodness, that's low. 1, 2. Okay, so it's off frequency there. Right, so we're looking at 3 watt TX, receive is 0.35 microvolts for 12 dB, deviation 0.75 kilohertz, and frequency it's quite off there, it's 27,7900. So I still think that's just about within spec, but that's way out. So we're going to pull the frequency up first. I'm going to do that with that little red trimmer by the crystal there. It's the nearest I can get it. Unusual on this chassis, they normally pull in. but we've got 2779120, so that's as near as I can do without changing that crystal, and I haven't got one lying about, and I have got a crystal checker, so I could spend some time doing that, but it's still in spec for me, so that's fine. Right, let's go through this power section and get the TX power up to 4 watts. We basically tune these 3 cans here for peak, and then we tune these for our 4 watts, and we go up to peak, and then we roll that one, I think the green one, back to get our transmit power of 4 watts. There we go, perfectly aligned. We've got bang on 4 watts there, and what we'll do now is we will just check our low power switch, as we know it was playing up. Let's see what it's doing now. Okay, that's not working, so we're going to have to probably clean the potentiometer there, they're often dirty. Yeah, as always it needed a good clean, and there we go, there's our low power adjustment of 0.4 of a watt there, so we've got our low power. Yeah, I'd like to get the meter bulb done now, because it makes setting the needle a lot easier. So let's get out my replacement box of parts and change that bulb. Right, the controls in the fascia are quite dirty, and they need to come off to help gain access to the bulb. So I'm going to take all those off, take the fascia off, these screws on here, and then we'll get those in the sink and give them a real good scrub with some detergent to clean them up. Pretty grimy under there. And now on the Rotel 220 and 230, the microphone socket is captive in the front, and it's locked with a nut at the back. So to get to the front controls to clean it all, there's only really one way of doing it, and that is cutting the 4 wires to the microphone socket there and re-sleeving them afterwards. Bit of a poor design choice by Rotel. On the 240, not an issue because the socket is on the side of the radio, but yeah, I mean, look at all that grime on those knobs. We need to clean all that up anyway, so we'll clean it all up, we'll get that meter out of there and swap the bulb over. But I just thought I'd show you that in case you were struggling. But this does need a really good clean, so the whole thing's going to go in the sink and degrease it, and then I'll contact clean this mic socket as well, and we'll make a nice neat job of reconnecting the wires there, so you won't really know. That's the fascia all cleaned up. Let's put that to one side now and get that bulb sorted. You remove these 2 screws and the bracket slides off the back, and you just push the meter backwards out of the radio. And there you go, you bring it top side of the radio. It also helps to take these side screws out here as well on both sides, just so you can pry the front of the radio forward. I only had to do this a couple of times. Bulbs very rarely go on these, but it is a real pain. So if someone does say, oh, I've got a Rotel 220, 230 and the bulb's gone, just bear that in mind. It's a lot more work to change the bulb than on some radios, than even on the 240, because like I say, the microphone is there on the 240. You peel the sellotape off the underside, and then you just literally lift this cover up like that. Just gently lift it up so you can gain access to the bulb, and then obviously put your new bulb in, and just use a bit of sticky tape or scotch tape to stick that back down. You can of course use Captain tape, coloured tape. It won't affect the colour of the meter there, so use what you got on hand, but you do need to seal that up once you've done it. I use these little signal bulbs that I pick up from a contact in China. I've seen people on eBay advertising bulbs for meters for CBs for £10. I think I ordered 100 of these for £10, something like that. So yeah, somebody's getting ripped off somewhere, and it won't be me. So yeah, I'll pop this little fella in there and we'll crack on. There we go, it's a lot cleaner, the bulb's in, and I've cleaned all the controls, even the little felt pads there. So let's pop the front back on. Right, that's all the wires joined up, and then don't forget the capacitor leg, the grounding capacitor leg, reconnect that inside there, and just run those sleeves up over the top of those wires. Now these sleeves are quite a snug fit. I'm probably not going to heat shrink those down, and just leave them nice and snugly over the wires there, so in the future, in 40 years time, when I'm not here and someone else wants to change that bulb, it's a bit easier. It's a bit better, guys, isn't it? Guys and girls, I must say. Yeah, pleased with that. So where were we? We'll get on with our tune-up. Right, we just need to adjust the power meter now. RB4, which is there. You just get that, so when we transmit, we're on the 4. There we go. On the 4. We really need to bring that deviation up, so we'll move this gain one into the middle position, pop our trimmer in there, and we'll get the other trimmer, and then we'll adjust it up on the tone generator. 1, 2. There we go. Right, receive. We've got 0.35 of a microvolt to beat, and I'm going to guess, well, I'm not going to guess, I'm going to know that that very first one we turn is definitely going to improve the gain. In fact, I'm going to film that and show you if I can. Just do it, move the wiring out of the way and just show you on all of these chassis. I think this was the one at the factory that they would desense the radios a little bit to combat bleed over or something, because on every one I do, the minute you turn that one you get more, you get a better reading on the cyanide meter. So we'll just try that. Okay, here we go. I'll turn this and you're looking for the needle to go to my left. There you go. Look at the difference that's made straight away. And in fact, I'll put a weaker signal on, but you always get a whacking great big difference with that one. Look with that one, we're now doing 0.21 of a microvolt for 12 dB cyanide, and we were doing 0.35. That's just with that one trimmer. Before we do anything, we'll put 100 microvolt signal on the radio, and then we'll adjust the detector for peak. There we go. So as is always the case, we can't improve on what we had. 0.21 is good as we can get. Let's see how far we can hear it down to though, just out of interest. That's as low as my generator will go. That's 0.1 of a microvolt. We can still hear it clearly, so that's pretty decent. But it is a 230. If you've got the 240, you do get a little bit of an extra bit of sensitivity, and you have the CAN T9, which is missing on this one. That's the difference between the two chassis there. I've got 100 microvolt signal on the meter. We just need to adjust the S meter there. Yeah, and get it into the right position, which is just there. The Squelch is working quite well on this one. It's coming in at 0.5. It's going out at 0.25, and then if we pop 100 microvolts on there, turn the Squelch fully up, drops out at 93, comes in at 100. So for this chassis, I'd say that's working pretty good. So Squelch is okay. I think we're done, aren't we? I think that's it. All we need to do now is to try and get hold of Michael before he zips off again to do an audio test. But you may have noticed I'm using a Rotel mic. I'm going to give that old mic a quick service. So we'll give that a clean and switch clean, and then we'll just check the deviation quickly off camera with that, and then we'll throw the lids back on, and I think we can consider this one another one. It returns from the dead, so to speak. So yeah. Very good. I mean, a very well used radio, but nonetheless a radio that's still working very well indeed. Well, hopefully this will clean up okay. I'll do my usual trick. We'll click the fingers, shall we? Alright, back in business. If we look at some of our figures then, we've gone from 3 watts to 4 watts. Receive's gone from 0.35 to 0.21. Deviation's gone from 0.75 to 2.5. Frequency's gone from 277900 to 2779120. So that's absolutely cock on. So we'll stick it on the antenna and see if we can hear anyone around, but if not, I think we'll wait and see if we can grab Mick before he pops off again and do another test. Nick is away on holiday, so we've got the mix simulator here, which we're going to set up just for a bit of fun rather than using the Randy, just so you can hear it coming from another radio. So I'm going to go and set this up downstairs in another room, and then we'll just do a quick test between the sets. Here is the mix simulator, LiPo battery, and i440DX, and then the telescopic whip off of the one I use when I'm out and about with the President Randy. And I know the SWR is going to be awful because there's no ground plane, and we've switched the radio into low power so as to not stress the stages too much. And yeah, let's see what it sounds like.
Right, this is a test of the Rotel Rvc 230 or 230, testing 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Radio that's just been repaired to go onto eBay. So if you want to purchase this radio, check out my eBay channel. I'll put a link in the description. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, testing. Right, test and receive of the Rotel Rvc 230 using the Serpent UK 4000, aka the NI440DX. Testing 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. The quick brown fox jumps over the lazy dog.
Right, I hope you've enjoyed the quick video on this RVC 230. Cracking little radio, really good receive, fine on transmit and everything else. If you're interested, have a look on eBay. If not, no worries, we'll catch you on the next one. Take care, thanks for watching.